All right, guys, welcome back to another video. If it's your first time here, I make daily gaming news content, so make sure to hit that subscribe if you enjoy what you see. And if you've been watching for a while, which I see a lot of you have, hit that subscribe if you are liking the videos. But let's start off here. Let's talk about the biggest piece of news to come out of yesterday, and that is the official announcements of the 4 games that Xbox has said we're going to be going over to other consoles. We know they had the Xbox business update last week. Phil Spencer did not name the 4 games that we're going to be going over to the PlayStation 5 and or the Nintendo Switch. He did say there were 2 live service games and 2 smaller games, and everyone pretty much already knew what those games were just from educated guessing as what they would be. And most of the people were correct. I mean, some of these have been in the rumors for a while, specifically Sea of Thieves and Hi-Fi Rush. Those were hugely in the rumors before even the rumors that ended up being false about Starfield and Indiana Jones going to other consoles had started leaking and coming out. But now we officially know all the details about this, the 4 games, when they're releasing, all of that type of stuff. Some of these were announced at the Nintendo Direct, and then others were just announced after on social media with some videos from the actual developers themselves. That's what I had thought what was going to happen. That's why Phil Spencer didn't name them, because he did not want to get ahead of the studios, did not want to get ahead of Rare and Tango and Obsidian before these games were announced. But here they are. We'll start off here. The first one here is Pentiment. This game is a much smaller game, of course, and it is coming to PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and the Nintendo Switch on February 22nd. This one was announced at the Nintendo Direct, the Partner Direct, and it was just kind of thrown into a sizzle reel. There really wasn't anything behind it. I'm kind of skeptical how well Pentiment is going to be doing on these other platforms, just because, I mean, the marketing behind it really isn't there. They threw it into the Nintendo Partner Direct. It was overshadowed by a bunch of other games. So we'll see how well it does. I hope it does well. I hope this is a nice success here for Obsidian and for Pentiment, so that they can continue to go out there and make more creative side projects if they're able to bring in more money from this game. This was a smaller game. I believe it was created by 12 people at Obsidian, and obviously on Xbox people played it. It was on Game Pass and stuff, but they want to reach more players by putting it out on PS4, PS5, and the Nintendo Switch. The next one here, Hi-Fi Rush. This is probably the biggest of them all for a lot of people. This was the shadow drop last year that Xbox put out at their showcase in January, and it's an incredible game. It was one of my favorite games last year. I think it was the Xbox game, even more so than Starfield, that deserved a Game of the Year nomination. And here we are now seeing it going to the PlayStation 5 on March 19th. And it is not going to the Nintendo Switch. This is just via the PlayStation 5 that you're going to be able to play this on the other console, maybe because they couldn't get this thing running on the Nintendo Switch. It is a very colorful, vibrant game. They would definitely have to dumb it down a decent amount to have it run on the Nintendo Switch, and it would take away from some of the things that make it the best, which is just the general aesthetic of Hi-Fi Rush. So PlayStation gamers, they're in for a treat if they do decide to pick up Hi-Fi Rush. And the other thing here with Hi-Fi Rush is that this is from a Japanese studio. It's going to be going out into regions that the gamers there really want to play this game. They're really excited for it because it's the type of game that they would enjoy over there. And now they're actually going to be able to access it on a box that they do own. All right, next up is Grounded. And this was also shown off at the Nintendo Direct. It was the first game that they showed off. It was a huge highlight for the show itself. And this is coming on to PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and Nintendo Switch on April 16th. And of course, this will have crossplay across all of the different platforms. A lot of the sentiment after this game was shown off was, this is a perfect game to be landing on the Nintendo Switch, and it'll open up the community and make people playing Grounded, the numbers much larger. I mean, Grounded has been very successful just on Xbox itself. Now imagine with people on the Switch and the PlayStation all playing this together, it's going to allow Obsidian again to go out there and make more of these creative projects. But Grounded absolutely fit right in to this Nintendo Direct, fits right in with the Nintendo Switch, and we'll see how popular it is. I feel like they believe as well it will be one of the more popular games to come out of this showcase because of the fact that it was the first game there, and there was Xbox Game Studios branding on the announcement when they showed it, so it will open people's eyes up to games that Xbox is putting out. There are probably still tons of people out there who have a Switch who play games, don't even know that Grounded exists, or don't even know that Xbox is the publisher for this Grounded game. Sea of Thieves here is the next one, and this one was also announced later on in the day with a video from Rare themselves announcing this game coming to the PlayStation 5 on April 30th. And of course, it will be available to wishlist before that on February 22nd. And they say here, having built a passionate community of more than 35 million players from around the world, the support of cross-play for Xbox, PlayStation, and PC will allow players to experience epic pirate adventures with friends on more platforms. So, I mean, the game was already extremely successful. The Sea of Thieves, whether this game was going to PlayStation 5 or not, was already a massive hit. So 35 million players, they're going to probably add a couple more million just from putting it on PlayStation itself, and it will just expand out the community. And then obviously what Xbox said at the business update is they take a look at these 4 games, they see how well they do, how much in demand they are, and then there could be more coming in the future. I have a feeling out of these 4, all of them are going to do pretty well, except honestly for Pentiment, because it was thrown in there, and unless they do a huge marketing campaign behind it, it may not sell as well. But I mean, I could be wrong with that. It may have more appeal than I believe when it comes to the other platforms that it is going on to. But those are the 4 games officially confirmed now. Not a surprise, people had already guessed all of these. Now, there's some other interesting things here to come out of these games being announced for PlayStation and for Nintendo, and that is they are now getting physical releases. So Pentiment is now officially getting a physical release from Limited Run Games. And it says here, step into an illustrated world where Europe is at a crossroads of great religious and political change. Limited Run is proud to announce that the physical edition of Pentiment will be available to pre-order tomorrow on Xbox, Switch, and the PlayStation 5. And then Limited Run is also making a physical version of Hi-Fi Rush. I know the Hi-Fi Rush physical edition was high in demand. It is coming for the Xbox Series X and S and for the PlayStation 5. So you can look at this in 2 ways. You can look at it the way that I'm looking at it, which is I'm very happy that these games are getting a physical release, because I am somebody who still likes my physical media, my physical content. So putting these games out onto PlayStation and Nintendo, to me, just for the fact that they are getting these physical versions, is a win, because maybe we wouldn't have gotten them. Maybe the ROI of doing that, if just for keeping it on Xbox with the amount that they had sold and stuff, just wasn't there for the games themselves. Or you're going to have a lot of people looking at this in the other way, which is it took these games going onto another platform to actually get the physical release, and maybe people are going to feel slighted about that. But at the end of the day, I'm just happy that these are coming. So very cool. I may even consider picking up a physical version of these, because these are ones that you can have the full game on the disc. I'm sure Pentiment is going to be fully available there on the Blu-ray. I'm sure Hi-Fi Rush more than likely is going to be fully available on the physical version itself. So they will never go away. It's not something you're going to have to worry about them getting deleted off the store or not being accessible when there's a power outage or something. You'll have the game physically on the disc itself. So cool to see that they are getting physical versions. Now, we also have some more information as to why I think Xbox is doing this, why they are making this move, and that is here. Matt Piscatella tweets out, according to Circana's Player Pulse, as of January 2024, only 18% of US Switch owners also own an Xbox Series console. Huge opportunity here to expand the reach of these and other titles. That is massive. That is a huge number of people that they are going to be able to potentially reach, because the Switch is potentially going to be the best-selling console of all time. It is right there behind the PlayStation 2, and I think Nintendo wants to catch them. Maybe that also plays in to them maybe wanting to delay the Nintendo Switch 2 release. So there is a huge player base here of people that are going to see Xbox games, Xbox Game Studios. Xbox is going to make more money off of these people, which will then be able to bring more content to Xbox, more sequels and things like that. But the other side here is just opening up these gamers' horizons to what Xbox has to offer and potentially getting them interested in the ecosystem and subscribing to Xbox Game Pass, because it's all going to come down to the marketing. Now that these games are officially being released on Nintendo and on PlayStation, it's extremely important in terms of how Microsoft, how Xbox, how Phil Spencer and their team are going to actually market these games to these players to try to bring them further into having interest into the games that Xbox is releasing. Because I'm sure if somebody goes out there and plays Hi-Fi Rush and falls in love with it, they're going to look further into Tango. They're going to look further into the Xbox catalog and probably end up looking further into Xbox Game Pass. So this is all part of their strategy to expand and grow and reach more players, which is happening as well from PlayStation, as we've heard over the last week with Hiroki Totoki and with their financial results and them going harder and more aggressively on a multi-platform strategy. But there it is. There's no more questions. We have the official answers. We have the official confirmations from Xbox, but the games that are coming over. And now we wait and see what happens in the future and how well these games do perform. Now, the other thing that came out of these announcements was the looking at the games that were announced at the Nintendo Direct and seeing which games were also coming over to Xbox. So we will start off with the good news here, because Xbox is again getting more games that they didn't previously have. And these games were announced at the Nintendo Direct. They say multiple games announced for Xbox following February 2024's Nintendo Direct. And there are 7 games here that are actually going over to the Xbox itself. And this is Another Crab's Treasure, Contra Operation Gulaga, Disney's Epic Mickey Rebrush, which was previously, I believe, a Nintendo Wii exclusive, now also coming over to Xbox and PlayStation. Penny's Big Breakaway. Then we have a big one here that probably we wouldn't have thought ever would have ended up on Xbox before we've seen Xbox grow their relationship with Japanese games, with Sega and with Atlas. And that is Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance, which is like an updated version of the Shin Megami Tensei 5 game. Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection. This one I'm actually really excited for. I don't know if anybody saw this from the Direct, but it's a remaster bringing the older Battlefront games to modern consoles with complete online and offline modes and the whole classic collection here. So really excited about that one. I will most likely be picking that one up. And then the last game that is coming over as well is Sword Art Online Fractured Daydream. So 7 games that were announced at the Nintendo Direct are also going multi-platform, also coming over to the Xbox console. So that's the good news. The bad news is we also got some games that aren't coming over, that are skipping Xbox. And again, this is creating another major conversation about the cost benefit of putting first-party games onto other platforms. So there's 2 games here. And the first game here is Monster Hunter Stories, coming in summer of 2024 to Nintendo, PS4 and Steam. It only says PS4 though, but with backwards compatibility, you're going to be able to play this on the PlayStation 5. And this is an older Monster Hunter game from the 3DS that they are now bringing to modern consoles. And then the second game that looks like a skipping Xbox is Gundam Breaker Force. So of course, this has opened up a whole can of worms of a new discussion as to why Xbox should not be giving their games to Nintendo or to PlayStation. And that is because Xbox still misses out on certain games. Now, these are obviously smaller, niche Japanese games that a lot of people probably aren't going to care whether they are on Xbox or not. But there is that discussion to be had, is will this get worse in the future if Xbox does give more of their games over? I don't think these 2 games skipping Xbox have any reasoning is because of the fact that they put their games on PlayStation or on Nintendo. I think these would have skipped Xbox regardless. I mean, we've seen this for a long time now. These smaller, specifically smaller niche Japanese games generally don't go on Xbox because the player base just isn't there in those regions. And overall, the player base for the Xbox platform aren't going to be spending and playing as much of these games as they would be on the Switch or even on the PlayStation. So this is something we'll see. Maybe changes in the future, gets worse. I think it potentially also could end up getting better if these Xbox games start attracting more people in those regions that they just don't want to buy an Xbox. They're not going to buy an Xbox no matter how many big first party great exclusives Xbox put out. But if they do end up playing an Xbox game, maybe they will subscribe into the Xbox ecosystem and maybe they will just get in it that way, which will increase the amount of numbers of people playing Xbox in those regions, which maybe will entice games like Monster Hunter Stories or Gundam Breaker to still release on Xbox. Maybe Xbox goes out there and gets these games in Game Pass in the future for those regions. So I think there's a lot of nuance here. There's a lot of different things that really are playing into this. I don't think these 2 games missing the Xbox platform is because of the fact that Xbox is putting their games on PlayStation and Nintendo. The reality is that just causes more concern for people thinking, will this expand further out into the future? And then finally, there is another thing here that definitely should be mentioned. At the Nintendo Direct, they also announced some more games coming to Nintendo Switch Online, and these are rare IP. So it's a Killer Instinct. What do we have here? We have Killer Instinct, RC Pro-Am, Snake Rattle and Roll, and Battletoads and Battle Maniacs and Blast Corps, all coming over to Nintendo Switch Online. And people are thinking these are Xbox IP, so there technically are more games from Xbox. Now, these are older games. These were all previously on Nintendo. This is kind of like a GoldenEye thing. I don't really think it's equivalent when you're comparing it to games like Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves and Pentiment, but those are going to Switch Online. It's funny, though, because this is just not even nearly the same realm as what Xbox got from Rare Replay. Nintendo is getting just this really crappy version of these older Rare games that are going onto their Nintendo Switch Online. I feel like Rare Replay, if Xbox was going to be putting another game on Nintendo and on PlayStation, Rare Replay would be that game that they should probably think about going forward with, because that is a phenomenal collection. It was only on the Xbox One. It was an exclusive there. And if they were to re-release that one, I think that would sell insanely in the platforms that it wasn't on when it did come out. So there it is. That's everything. We now can just look forward. No more guessing what games they are and everything. So I thought overall the Nintendo Direct was okay. Nothing too crazy out of the games that I wanted to play, but it was interesting seeing them opening up the show with Grounded, which is an Xbox Games Studio game. All right, let's jump over here to the next major announcement that we did get yesterday as well. And that is Final Fantasy XIV Online. The open beta is now available on your Xbox Series X and S. You can actually go download it and start playing it. And I mean, this is a signal of just, again, who would have thought this was going to happen 5 years ago? Probably not very many people, but it is here now. And we are going to be able to actually play this game on the Xbox platform. There is one thing that you should know. If you're somebody like me who has a previous account and you've played Final Fantasy XIV before and you want to just carry your character over to the Xbox version, which is what I am planning on doing, do not play the beta, because there is this disclaimer here from Square Enix saying, we ask any players who wish to play Final Fantasy XIV on Xbox with an existing Square Enix account and its associated characters to please wait until the full Xbox launch after the open beta test concludes. It says to play on Xbox, you will need to link your Xbox account and Square Enix account. You will not be able to unlink the accounts once linked. We ask that existing players please wait until the official release to link your Square Enix account to your Xbox account. So that's major. Make sure you guys know that if you're planning on bringing your older accounts. Hopefully you haven't done it already before watching this video, because that's something that I think people will do without knowing and then just be super pissed off and super confused when the official game does end up releasing. So if you're new, you want to make a new character, now is time to check that out, but not if you're planning on bringing over and linking your Xbox account to your existing Final Fantasy account. Now, we also got this here, which I think is awesome. This is just a small little thing, but we know that when Avowed was showing off their artwork with this picture here, everyone loved it. And now we finally have the dynamic background for Xbox. This is one of the most beautiful box art pieces and pieces of art within gaming I've seen in a long time. So I can't wait to see it, how this translates further into the game and stuff. But this is such a nice picture for dynamic background. Perfect release here for the Xbox consoles. And we also have a huge announcement that happened yesterday. Actually, it was a big day in major announcements in gaming. But that is here that Elden Ring's first expansion is coming in June. They put out their trailer. It looks great. If you're an Elden Ring fan, it is going to be released June 21st for PS5, PS4, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PC, and Steam, and it is going to cost $40 US. So if you're interested in that, if you like Elden Ring, definitely go and play that. They do say here, this is guided by the Empyrean Michaela. Players are beckoned to the land of shadow, a place obscured by the Erdtree, where the goddess Marika first set foot. In these strange new lands, players discover the dark secrets of the world as they meet others who follow Michaela's footsteps with ulterior motives. An Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree takes players beyond the land between to explore the land of shadow, completely new world from Elden Ring, and players can seamlessly travel back and forth between its vast maps, interspersed with diverse situations and meticulous dungeons where menacing enemies roam. And they say Shadow of Erdtree adds new weapons, equipment, weapon skills, and magic not found in the base game of Elden Ring, along with new enemies, boss encounters, and plot lines to further increase your player's RPG freedom. So they also, on top of that, announced a bunch of different editions. You have the base edition, which will be the Elden Ring Shadow of Erdtree, the standard version of the expansion, and it's available digitally on all platforms. So you have to own the base game of Elden Ring. Then there is the premium bundle here, which includes the expansion, comes with the digital art book and soundtrack. You have the deluxe edition, which comes with the Elden Ring base game plus everything within that premium bundle. And then there's another collector's edition. So they released a collector's edition for the original game, and they're releasing another collector's edition here for this expansion. It includes a single voucher code for your selected platform of choice with the expansion. You're actually getting a statue in this, a 40-page physical art book, a digital soundtrack, and obviously collector's editions limited. So if you do want to pick that up, make sure to look it up and stuff and get your pre-order in. So huge day for Elden Ring, for gaming, just tons of stuff that happened yesterday. But I'm going to end the video there, guys. If you did enjoy this video, hit that thumbs up. If you're new here, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. We'll be right back.